we have 4 absolutely gorgeous wines from the wine region of Rhone here in front of me. 2 of them are from Northern Rhône and 2 of them are from Southern Rhône. So why would you pick one over the other? First of all, let's get there. So you take your plane, you fly into Lyon in southeastern France, and you keep driving south. You get to Northern Rhône, drive for another hour and a half, and then you get to Southern Rhône. So what's the big difference between them? Northern Rhône as an area is very long and skinny, and there's only one red grape permitted there, and that is Syrah, also known as Shiraz. The flavour produced from a wine made from 100% Syrah is really intense, dense, rich, silky tannins, blueberries, blackberries, spice. As it gets older, it changes into gorgeous kind of herbaceous, leathery notes. Absolutely beautiful, but a very specific flavour profile. When you go south of Northern Rhône into Southern Rhône, it's the exact opposite. 13 grapes are permitted in that area rather than 1 where it's just Syrah in Northern Rhône. So of the 13 grapes, 3 are the most important: Grenache, Syrah and Mourvèdre. So if you ever see Grenache, Syrah, Mourvèdre, or maybe they're written in a slightly different order on a label of a wine from Australia, California, Chile, and what they're telling you is they're trying to make a wine similar to what you can get in Southern Rhône. And the most famous wines produced in Southern Rhône are Châteauneuf-du-Pape. We have Gigondas here, but also Côte-Rôtie. So Côte-Rôtie is from the whole area, and then there are a couple of villages that are particularly excellent, Châteauneuf-du-Pape being probably the most famous one. And so if it says Grenache, Syrah, Mourvèdre on the label, they're telling you, oh, we're trying to make a Châteauneuf-du-Pape, but outside of the Châteauneuf-du-Pape region. So what makes these so good? The 3 grapes, particularly Grenache. Grenache is a kind of big, generous, instant gratification grape, red fruit, spice. It's quite flamboyant. It's really, really beautiful. And the wines produced in Southern Rhône, they tend to be, I suppose, a little bit lighter in body, and you're able to drink them, or they get to their peak earlier than the wines of Northern Rhône. Why would you pick one over the other? Well, flavour profile, black fruits, red fruits. So black fruits for Northern Rhône, red fruits for Southern Rhône. But also that within Northern Rhône, they have the potential to last 15, 20, 25 years because they're so dense and the tannins are so strong in them and so structured. Whereas the wines of Southern Rhône, particularly Châteauneuf-du-Pape and Gigondas, they reach their full potential earlier because the tannins are a little bit less in them. So that's why you might pick one over the other. And also the red fruit flavour profile. These wines are a little bit pricier than what you would normally get. So we have a couple of examples here. We have the Crow's Hermitage and we have the Gigondas. These are kind of considered babies of the area. Babies. They're still 31, 32, 33 euro. They're produced in a really tiny area. The land is already at max capacity. You can't add any more vineyards because it's already delineated. So if you're buying a wine from this area, you're buying it from a really tiny production, tiny piece of land. We specialize in the creme de la creme, the best producers of that region. So when you're getting one of these bottles, you're getting something that is superb. If you want to take a step up, we have wines from Cornas and Châteauneuf-du-Pape. They're higher in price point. They are in really high demand, and they're I suppose a little bit higher in terms of quality as well. A lot of times the value of wine can be directly related to the price of the real estate. How much in demand is it? And the wines of Châteauneuf-du-Pape are grown on the vineyards, are covered in these beautiful stones, really white stones. And what happens is it's really, really hot, and the sun comes in and the light bounces off the white stones and hits the grapes, and so it helps them get even more ripe and even more opulent. These are absolutely gorgeous. I'm just going to go through a couple of extra things about them because it's quite interesting. Yves Quiron, this particular one, he's a brilliant winemaker. And the wine, considering it's from a really hot area, the wine is 12.5% alcohol, which is actually really exciting because you think normally these wines, as we go along, you'll see are really punchy in weight and punchy in alcohol. This is a good one if you wanted to have a really fancy wine on a school night and you don't want to have the extra few percentage. in alcohol, it's a great one to go for. But they're just, I suppose, a little bit more subtle and a little bit more elegant. Crow's Hermitage is part of, or is a greater area outside of Hermitage. And if you wanted a really, really beautiful holiday, fly into Lyon, drive an hour south and you get to the town of Hermitage. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site and you can climb up to the top of the Hermitage Hill. There's a beautiful chapel there, famous from the La Chapelle wine, and you can see the whole region. It's stunning. I couldn't recommend anything more. And for a wine lover, it's like going to Mecca. It's beautiful. The wine of Cornas is on, so when you drive down the main road, there's a valley, and so there's vineyards on the right and on the left, so there's the right bank or the left bank, and Cornas makes a slightly bigger, dense, more robust one. This spends 12 months in oak, and it's got, again, a huge aging potential. So they're just now, it's 2019 as a vintage, so I'd say it's reaching, it's drinking, you know, starting to open up and have, I suppose, showcase the beautiful flavours, but you've got years to reach that pinnacle where it'll be beautiful. So it makes a good gift if you want to, for example, celebrate an anniversary or mark a big occasion for a few years down the road. A wine like that is perfect. The next two we have is the Gigondas, and just with the Cornas, it's 14% alcohol. We're going further south here now. We've reached Gigondas, further south, further hotter. And this is 15% alcohol, so it's a big wine. For me, that's kind of the classic style that you're going to get from those Southern Rhône blends. So the main or the most famous town is Châteauneuf-du-Pape. And then there are a few towns around it, or places, appellations. And what they do is, because the real estate is a little bit less, the wines tend to be a little bit lower in price point. So at €32, you're basically getting a baby Châteauneuf-du-Pape. There's 4 grapes in this one. So predominantly Grenache, and that's very typical of Southern Rhône. And then there's Syrah, so the grape that is found in Northern Rhône, but in smaller quantities. Cinsault and Mourvèdre. Cinsault is kind of a light red cherry flavour. Mourvèdre is really robust with loads of tannins. For me, rustic and farmyardy. The wine is gorgeous style. I would definitely open it and decant it and give it a little bit of time. But at this particular vintage, 2020, you're starting to reach a point where it'll be beautiful and it'll be ready to drink earlier. And then the Châteauneuf-du-Pape, this is a Grenache Châteauneuf-du-Pape. Sometimes you'll find a Châteauneuf-du-Pape and they don't have to have all 13 grapes. They might just want to showcase one, and they're permitted to do that. This is 2017, we're now 2023, that's 6 years old. This is going to be magnifique. It's at its perfect drinking age. It's a beautiful wine, and again, it's produced at Domaine Roche-Audran. They're organic, biodynamic. They let the grapes do the talking. They're minimal intervention, very traditional winemaking, and this is like the best of the best. And we get asked quite a lot, you know, what's the difference between these wines, which are artisan, small production, award-winning, compared to if I was going to get a Châteauneuf-du-Pape in a supermarket. Often what happens with the supermarket wines is, whereas these are produced by family winemakers at their own vicinity, the cooperative wines or the supermarket wines tend to come from cooperatives, and so just grapes from around that people don't think, okay, they're not good enough to go into my flagship wine, the quality isn't there, and so they get sold at a lesser price point and then bottled in batch, so that the quality isn't there. You're not getting the true, for me, the true taste of what the region is. You're literally just buying the name. If I was going to buy a lesser quality Châteauneuf-du-Pape, I'd probably spend the same amount of money on a really good Côte-Rôtie, and you'll get more quality in it that way. So this is Northern Rhône versus Southern Rhône, and I hope you enjoy.